The rain hammered against the windows of our small cottage in the Cotswolds, mirroring the storm brewing inside me. For 20 years, Alaric, had been a dedicated IT specialist, happily married to Bronte. We weren't rich, but we had built a comfortable life filled with love, laughter, and the simple joys of village life. Or so I thought. The first crack in our seemingly perfect facade appeared subtly. Bronte, always a vibrant and affectionate woman, began to withdraw. Kisses became perfunctory, her hugs less frequent. She attributed it to stress at work. She worked as a librarian at the local library, but her explanations felt hollow. I tried to be understanding, making her favorite meals, drawing her a bath, suggesting weekend getaways. Nothing seemed to bridge the growing chasm between us. Then came the late nights. Bronte started staying late at the library with increasing regularity. "Inventory," she'd say, her voice tight. "The new system is a nightmare." I trusted her implicitly. Why wouldn't I? We had built a life on trust, hadn't we? The unease gnawed at me, though. I found myself checking her phone, a habit I despised but found nothing. Her texts were mundane, her call logs unremarkable. I felt guilty for even doubting her, but the feeling persisted, a knot in my stomach that refused to loosen. The catalyst arrived in the form of a misplaced scarf. A silk scarf, not one Bronte owned. It was a vibrant crimson, lying carelessly on the passenger seat of her car. When I confronted her, she paled, stammering about a colleague who had left it behind. A flimsy excuse that crumbled under the weight of my suspicion. That night I couldn't sleep. The rain continued its relentless assault, each drop a hammer blow against my sanity. I tossed and turned, replaying every interaction with Bronte in my head, searching for clues I had missed, signs I had ignored. Driven by a desperate need for answers, I did something I never thought I was capable of. I decided to follow her. The next evening, Bronte left for work as usual. I waited an hour, then slipped out of the house, my heart pounding in my chest. I tailed her car at a safe distance, my anxiety rising with each passing mile. She didn't go to the library. Instead, she drove to a secluded pub on the outskirts of town, the Drunken Duck. I parked down the street, my hands clammy, and watched as she got out of the car. She wasn't alone. A man was waiting for her, a tall, handsome man with a confident swagger. He greeted her with a kiss, a deep, lingering kiss that stole the air from my lungs. It was Quinton, the new history professor at the local college. I had met him a few times at village events. I had even considered him a friend. He was always charming, always attentive to Bronte. I had dismissed it as harmless flirtation. Now the truth hit me with the force of a physical blow. I watched, paralyzed, as they entered the pub, their hands intertwined. My world tilted on its axis. 20 years. 20 years of loyalty, love, and devotion, reduced to this clandestine meeting in a seedy pub with another man. Rage, hot and blinding, surged through me. I wanted to storm into the pub, confront them, tear them apart. But I held back, a cold, calculating part of my brain taking over. I needed proof. I needed to know the extent of their betrayal. I spent the next few weeks in a haze of disbelief and simmering anger. I became a ghost in my own home, watching Bronte, studying her every move. She seemed oblivious to my torment, continuing her charade of late nights and fabricated excuses. I installed a hidden camera in our living room, disguised as a smoke detector. It felt like a violation, but I needed to know the truth, no matter how painful. The footage confirmed my worst fears. Bronte and Quinton had been meeting at our house while I was at work. They were brazen, careless, their affair unfolding under the roof I had worked so hard to provide. The betrayal cut deeper than I could have imagined. It wasn't just the infidelity. It was the lies, the deception, the utter disregard for our vows and our history. I confided in my closest friend, Benedict, a retired detective. He listened patiently, his face grim. "You need to gather evidence, Alaric," he advised. "Document everything. Don't let your emotions cloud your judgment." Following Benedict's advice, I hired a private investigator, Isolde, a no-nonsense woman with a sharp mind and an even sharper tongue. She uncovered a web of lies and deceit that stretched back months. Bronte and Quinton had been planning to leave together, to start a new life with the money they had been secretly siphoning from our joint account. The realization that Bronte had not only betrayed me but also planned to financially ruin me sent a chill down my spine. The woman I had loved, the woman I had trusted with my life, was a stranger to me. I decided it was time to confront her. I waited for her to come home from work, the evidence laid out on the kitchen table, the photos, the bank statements, the video footage. When she walked in, her face lit up with a practiced smile. "Alaric, darling, you're home early." "We need to talk, Bronte," I said, my voice flat. Her smile faltered as she took in the scene. "What's all this?" I gestured to the evidence. "I know everything, Bronte. I know about Quinton. I know about the money." Her face crumpled. "Alaric, I can explain how you could betray me like this. Explain how you could lie to my face for months." She started to cry. "I didn't mean for it to happen. It just happened, it just happened," I repeated, incredulous. "You planned to run away with another man and steal our life savings, and it just happened." She begged for forgiveness, promising to end the affair, to make things right. But the trust was shattered, the love extinguished. I couldn't forgive her. "I wouldn't." "It's over, Bronte," I said, my voice devoid of emotion. "I want you out of this house. I want a divorce." She pleaded, she threatened, she tried to manipulate me, but I stood firm. I had spent 20 years building a life with a woman who didn't exist. Now it was time to rebuild, to create a new life, one free from lies and betrayal. I filed for divorce, presenting the evidence I had gathered. Bronte didn't contest it. She knew she was caught, her lies exposed. The divorce was finalized quickly, and she moved out, leaving me alone in the cottage that had once been our sanctuary. But I wasn't alone for long. Benedict and Isolde became my anchors, supporting me through the darkest days. I threw myself into my work, finding solace in the logic and precision of technology. As for Bronte and Quinton, their grand plans quickly unraveled. Quinton's wife, alerted to the affair by Isolde, filed for divorce, leaving him with nothing. Bronte's reputation in the village was ruined. She lost her job at the library and was forced to move away, ostracized and alone. Karma, it seemed, had a way of evening the score, but my revenge wasn't about their downfall. It was about reclaiming my life, about finding peace and happiness after the storm. I sold the cottage in the Cotswolds, unable to bear the memories it held. I moved to a small coastal town in Cornwall, where I bought a quaint little house overlooking the sea. I spent my days walking the beach, breathing in the fresh sea air and learning to trust again. It wasn't easy, but with the help of my friends and a newfound sense of self-worth, I began to heal. One day, while volunteering at a local animal shelter, I met a woman named Willow. She was kind, compassionate, and genuine. We bonded over our love of animals and our shared appreciation for the simple things in life. We started dating slowly, cautiously, each of us carrying the scars of past relationships. But with each passing day, our connection deepened. Willow taught me to trust again, to open my heart without fear. Eventually, I asked her to marry me. She said yes. Our wedding was small and intimate, held on the beach at sunset. As I looked into Willow's eyes, I knew I had found my second chance at happiness. Bronte's betrayal had left deep scars, but it had also taught me valuable lessons about love, trust, and the importance of knowing your worth. I had survived the storm, and I had emerged stronger, wiser, and more grateful than ever before. Years passed, and I built a new life with Willow in Cornwall. One afternoon, while browsing through a local antique shop, I stumbled upon a familiar object, a crimson silk scarf. It was identical to the one Bronte had left in her car. A wave of memories washed over me, but this time there was no pain, no anger, only a faint sense of sadness. I picked up the scarf, examining its intricate pattern. Then I smiled, a genuine, heartfelt smile. I had come a long way since that day in the Cotswolds. I had found love again, and I had learned to forgive, not for Bronte's sake, but for my own. I placed the scarf back on the shelf and walked out of the shop, leaving the past behind me, ready to embrace the future with Willow by my side. I never saw Bronte again, but I heard through mutual acquaintances that she had struggled to rebuild her life. Quinton had moved on to another affair, leaving her heartbroken and alone. I didn't feel any satisfaction in her misfortune, only a quiet sense of closure. My life in Cornwall was peaceful and fulfilling. I had found happiness again, not in spite of Bronte's betrayal, but because of it. It had forced me to reevaluate my priorities, to appreciate the true meaning of love, and to never take anything for granted. And so I lived my life, grateful for every moment, every sunrise, every shared laugh with Willow. I had learned that even the deepest wounds can heal, and that even after the darkest storms, the sun will eventually shine again.